On June 11th, 2004, I was there. It had been a long time since I went to an A's game. Last time I took the drive to Fremont and rode BART to the Coliseum was 5 whole days? I even got on TV on that day. I still didn't have a job at the time. I was also newly single and out of college. The last A's game I went to against Toronto, they won 2 in a row. They would sweep the Cincinnati Reds to begin the Interleague portion of the season. It became a winning streak and would help the A's finally catch the Angels. After sweeping the Reds, the A's would be at the top of the division. On my next trip to the Coliseum, they would face a team that I had seen earlier in the 2004 season. The Pittsburgh Pirates have been an ongoing embarrassment after Barry Bonds left. Even moving into a new stadium in 2001 didn't help, because a new stadium is supposed to make it all better, right? After 3 consecutive NL East Division championships in the early 90s, they had a few good seasons in the 2010s, playing in 3 consecutive NL wildcard games and winning one of them in 2013. One notable on the 2004 team was 3-time All-Star catcher Jason Kendall, who would be traded to the A's before the 2005 season. As I mentioned, this was the second time I was seeing the Pirates in the 2004 season. A month earlier, after my friends and I chipped in and got a block of seats at SBC Park, we watched the Giants host the lowly franchise. The Giants tried to come back from 5 runs down, but they fell short and lost to the Bucks 6-4. Starting pitcher for the Pirates, Chris Benson. Benson was drafted first overall in the 1996 amateur draft. In that same year, he won the bronze medal for Team USA at the Olympics in Atlanta. He was a decent pitcher that was suffering on a lousy team. In fact, the Pirates did him a favor that season and traded him to the Mets at the trade deadline in the 2004 season. 2005 was his best season with a 12-10 record. After a season and a half playing in Queens and a full season in Baltimore in 2006, Benson was out of the majors for a few years. After a cup of coffee with the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, Benson retired in 2011. Starting pitcher for the A's, Tim Hudson. This would be the last time I would see Hudson pitch for the A's in person. Billy Beane broke up the Moneyball rotation, trading Hudson off along with Mark Mulder in the offseason. Hudson had another solid season that earned him a trip to the All-Star game in Houston later that year, his first since 2000. I've glossed over his career accomplishments in a previous video where Hudson was the starting pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, so I'm just going to get on with it. The Pirates would get started early. After Jason Kendall struck out, Jack Wilson got on base with a single to center. Hudson got Darrell Ward to strike out for the second out, then walked Craig Wilson. The next batter, Rob Makoviak, would get the Pirates on the board first.
11 home runs and some big home runs for the Pirates this year.
And that is ripped to right center field. Gatti will chase this down. One Wilson is in. The second will be held at third. It's a double, and the Pirates are on top.
Randall Simon would ground out to end the inning. Even though he gave up a walk to Mark Kotsay, Benson got out of the first unscathed. With 2 outs in the top of the second, the Pirates were threatening again. Abraham Nunez hit a double to center, and Kendall took one for the team. Hudson would get Jack Wilson to ground out to avert disaster. In the bottom of the second, thanks to a double play, it would be 3 up and 3 down. The next couple of innings were quiet, mostly 3 up and 3 down innings, especially from Benson. He seemed to be working on something. A's kept it a 1-0 game after another quiet inning in the top of the 5th. To the bottom half of the inning, Benson was working on a no-hitter. This was the kind of thing ESPN would drop everything for. Well, all of that was gone after Rubio Durazo led off and got on base without playing lawyer ball.
Talking to Jim Joyce again.
Hard, deep to right center field. Stays in the park. Durazo with a stand-up double, and the A's have their first hit of the night.
Next up, Bobby Crosby would move Durazo to third with the single to left. Former Diamondbacks catcher Damian Miller would be next up and tied the game.
To right center. Wilson, Makoviak will take it. Durazo tags. The throw, not in time.
It would stay tied after Marco Scutaro grounded and got Crosby forced out, and Esteban Germán lined out. Hudson would have his hands full again in the top of the 6th inning. Makoviak led off the inning with a double, and Simon got plunked. Next up, Makoviak moved to third, but Bobby Hill grounded into a double play for that to happen.
That boy ain't right.
After Hudson hit Ruben Mateo, both would be stranded after Nunez grounded out to end the threat. In the top of the 7th, Hudson would keep the game tied by setting down the Bucks in order. A quick side story for the 7th inning stretch. The day before I went to the A's and Jays game, Ronald Reagan, the 40th President of the United States, passed away at the age of 93. On that night, the U.S. flag behind me in the left field bleachers was flown at half staff, and we had a moment of silence along with the playing of America the Beautiful, in which some nitwit sitting in my section had to ruin.
This is a national day of mourning. We ask everyone to join in a period of silence in honor of our 40th President, Ronald Reagan.
Okay, back to the game, because the bottom of the 7th is when the pirate ship started taking cannon fire. Hatteberg led off with the walk. Durazo got another single, and the bases would be loaded after Bobby Crosby got hit by a pitch. Brian Meadows would come in to relieve Benson. Then it started to get ugly. Miller would record another RBI. This time it would break the tie.
Expenses.
And that's going to be a base hit. Only one because really wasn't much you could do there with Mateo right on top of the plate. Durazo would not have had a shot at scoring.
Scudero was next up, and we would confuse Meadows with Ricky Vaughn for a quick second.
Oh, way outside. Another run will come in, and the A's lead by 2.
Then Scudero would add another run without Meadows' help.
I mean, that was infield brought in, and a bloop single will bring home run number 4.
Meadows would finally stop the bleeding as he retired the next 3 batters. In the top of the 8th, Chris Hammond would take over for Hudson. While he gave up a leadoff walk to Craig Wilson, he set down the next 3, including 2 strikeouts. In the bottom of the 8th, the Pirate ship would begin to take on water. John Grabnell would come in for Meadows. After Jermaine Dye struck out, Hatteberg singled to right, and Durazo walked. After Crosby struck out, Grabnell's brief night would end as Mark Corey came in. Corey would walk Miller to load the bases. Next up, Scudero would get another one.
That will get through. Hatteberg scores. 5-1 Oakland.
Germán would step up next, and the revolving door continued to spin.
Miller didn't even look at it. And Germán draws a 4-pitch walk to bring home another. Six to 1.
The A's would let up after Eric Burns struck out. Not exactly a safe situation being up 5 runs, but Justin Dukeshire would come in for Hammond. After Ruben Mateo lined out and Nunez grounded out, Kendall and Jack Wilson hit back-to-back singles. With runners at the corners and Darrell Ward is up. This won't take long.
Popped up. Scudero waves everybody away, and the A's have won again. A 6-1 victory over the Pirates continues a fabulous homestand. Most of which, of course, is accomplished without even the presence of Eric Chavez in uniform, and they continue to roll through the National League and especially the National League Central.
The A's would go on to sweep the Pirates and extend the winning streak to 8. After the sweep, the A's had a 2.5 game lead on the Angels. In a week, it was gone. Then the Texas Rangers would get in the mix. At the end of July, the A's would find themselves at the top of the division, with the Angels and Rangers close behind. For all of August, the A's would cling on to that lead by any means necessary. They went on another 8-game winning streak to close out the month of August. By September, the A's had a whopping 4-game lead over the Angels. I say whopping because that's the largest lead they had in the home stretch. A 5-game losing streak days before my birthday would cut the lead to 1 game, but the A's would find ways to maintain that lead. In fact, they were up by 2 games after a 4-game split with the Rangers. which included chairs getting thrown into the stands and the third straight season I would go to a ball game on my birthday. With a little over a week left in the season, the A's were up by 2 games going into a huge 3-game series in Anaheim, which the Angels took 2 out of 3. The A's would finish their season with a 7-game homestand. After a split with the Mariners, the lead was gone. Both the Angels and A's were tied atop the AL West, and look what we had here. The Angels were coming to town. Since the Boston Red Sox had the wild card spot locked up, the scenario was simple. It was a best 2 out of 3 for the AL West division and a spot in October baseball. Game 1, which I was there for, the A's got thrashed 10-0, which included the first time I'd see a grand slam in person, hit by Alfredo Almanzanga, and the final home run that Andres Galarraga would hit in his big league career. The next day, the Angels proved the rally monkey didn't die and scored 3 runs in the 8th inning, including an RBI single by Garrett Anderson to score the go-ahead run. The Angels clinched the AL West and eliminated the A's. This would be the first time the A's would not make the playoffs in the 21st century. They'd be back in a couple of years.
Another day of nothing in my summer and another A's game when I was there on June 11th, 2004.
Full opportunity hugger there.